The Joe Rogan Experience.
So how did how did you come up with hashtag CTESPN? Because that's my favorite.
I feel like when I stopped playing football and I walked off the field, people was like, this guy's crazy. Like, he's retarded. You know what I'm saying? He's illiterate. So, I was like, you know what? Maybe I could, rebrand CTSBN with, giving people perspective of different challenges people face and great individuals, how they overcome adversity, and just kind of share and tune perspective of, how people is getting through trauma. No matter if you're a football player, I mean, what it's like for you. You started UFC, UFC. Like,
the reality of head trauma is something that we're like, as a society, we're just embracing over the last 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't for that concussion movie. I think that opened up a lot of people's eyes. That Will Smith movie.
Yes.
And the story, that doctor, of him finding how many people have like significant brain trauma from football.
Yes. So for me, I try to use it because this is a serious standpoint. A lot of ex-players and players has been diagnosed and, passed away from CTE. So for me, on a serious point of, bringing record awareness and bringing, a reality standpoint of what athletes and people fighting or anyone in their daily lives facing from head trauma, of just people writing them off, and encouraging therapy, encouraging how do you get through tough situation and then making it funny. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like nowadays if you do something crazy, people are like, oh yeah, that guy's crazy. So it's like, let's just show why they crazy in CTSPN and show the cause of the craziness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a real cause to the craziness. And, and we're ignoring it as a society because we love football, we love MMA, we love boxing. So we just kind of like
overlook it with the entertainment.
Keep moving.
Keep hitting.
I'm friends with a lot of dudes, so I get to see what they're like after fights. Like everybody watches the fight. The fight's amazing, and then you run into them after fights and have a conversation with them. Like, oh man, their whole head's swollen, can't move their hands. Can't walk. Calves are blown out. Knees fucked up. Ice here. This there.
Oh, the challenge.
It's a challenge, man. Yeah. It's a real challenge. And when you started playing football, nobody even thought about it.
Yeah, because you just, you never think about the repercussions. You just think, how to make a better life.
Well, back then, nobody even really knew that was going to happen to football players. It was kind of a thing that they thought about with boxers. Rarely people talked about football players who aren't doing so good.
Yeah, so I feel like CTSPN was brought back to recognize the awareness of high-level people experiencing trauma and not being able to overcome that trauma because, life's change on you in a second. You playing football, it's going to come to an end, and then what do you do next?
When you talk about CTE, when did you first start noticing the effects of football?
I feel like to me, I always knew like the game was going to come to an end. And I feel like to me, I always played the game smart as a receiver, not putting myself in bad positions, getting hit. But I did have a chance to, rest in peace, Demaryius Thomas, one of the ex-receivers who came in the NFL around the time I came in. I had a chance to see him experience, some of that CTE trauma. And in the midst.
How did he pass?
From CTE.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He passed from CTE?
Yeah, when they study his brain, because I don't want to speak about the problems that he really had, but, being a close friend to him, we seen some of the experience that he was going through. And playing for Temple my last year when we won the Super Bowl, I think it had a player, Vincent Jackson, rest in peace, also passed from CTE. So for me, it's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
And not only just from the hits you take, but like you said, aftermath of your career or, having a moment in your career where some guys can't get over it or, you done seen fighters have a fight or it may not go the way that they wanted to go and it could possibly affect the outcome of how they look at it. And I feel like we all have traumas in our lives no matter if you play sports or not. Yeah. So it just raising awareness of getting mental therapy and being able to, work on yourself so you can have a better life.
Yeah, that's a important point you brought up, like the psychology of an athlete. You have to learn how to like put losses behind you and failures behind you, and regain your confidence, and then excel and move forward.
Yeah,
right.
You just gotta not let one moment overtake the overall moments of your career.
Right.
'Cause some moments are big moments, and if you get cut, little things that happen in your career, just take it with a grain of salt and be able to cope with the situations you're in.
Yeah. When did you? I mean, you talk pretty openly about CTE, but when did you start feeling the effects of that?
I feel like for me, I feel like I always was in tune and aware of my situation and where I'm at in life. I've been pretty blessed in my regards of being a football player, to be able to come from Central Michigan as a walk-on to Central Michigan, leave 3 years, go to the Steelers, being the second receiver pick in that year. And then, I always had a high belief in myself and never was deteriorated about the position or where I had to start from or where I was going. So for me, I always had the intuitive trust and the belief in myself regarding any situation I've been in, because, I came from Liberty City from nothing. So to me, everything's a blessing. So I never let football or any position I ever was in life deteriorate my perspective and my outlook or how I looked at.
Did you feel the way your brain work change at all, though?
No, I feel like the older you get playing sport, you realize deteriorate, what the game entails on your body. I feel like in my 20s, I was just ripping through, dominating the game.
Right,
Then when you get 30, obviously it's a business. They're looking for younger players to excel at the game. And then when you leave one of the best teams and put yourself in a position to do what's important for you other than important for the NFL, so you know what's going to come with that. So to me, I always made the calculated decisions, to put myself in the best position, i.e. like playing with Tom Brady, going to the Pacers or leaving the Steelers, or, I always try to just knew I wasn't going to play for a long time, just maximize the moment in the meantime playing, so when I'm done playing, I could live a healthy life.
So you played smart.
Gotta play smart.
And as a receiver, man, they're coming for you.
Yeah, you gotta play smart.
That's target numero uno.
Yeah. All the way.
Yeah. Do you encounter a lot of young guys, or like, I'm sure you run into and you definitely did while you're playing, young guys are coming in and you feel like compelled to let them know, like, hey, you got a short amount of time here.
Yes.
Nobody the longest anybody ever lasts is like Brady. Like, what's he now? He's thinking about doing it again.
Yeah.
He's like, what is he, 43?
44 probably, yeah.
Quarterback's a little different, right?
Yeah.
A lot different, right, than a receiver.
Different than a receiver, yeah.
And they have longer careers, but, it's obviously, for most people, you start hitting your 30s. That's the same thing with fighters as well. So when they pass 35, that's the cutoff. 35, you're always looking for decline. And some of them hang in there strong, like Alex Pereira. He's 37. He's hanging in there strong, killing everybody. But for most guys, 35, 36, that's the drop-off, 37. Do you feel, compelled to talk to the young guys and,
Absolutely, because it's a short window of opportunity.
Yeah.
And you got to know, what are you set out to do? You know what I mean? What you came to do, you got to have those intangibles. And just, it's a long game.
Yeah, yeah. Life is a long game.
Life is a long game, so
Yeah. Football's a chapter. Life's a long game. And it could be the most
different.
fun chapter of your whole life.
Exactly. But it's not real life.
Right.
Football is just what you do. It's really not who you is, but I feel like people will kind of get to know you from what you do based off, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing is that, some guys, they have a real problem when they stop playing because they don't know who they are anymore. They used to be a football player, and now all of a sudden they're just a regular person who was a football player.
And that's some part of the trauma as well. Some guys, it's not really in tune to knowing themselves in regard to who they is. And to me, I always knew football was going to come to an end, but we don't have unlimited health. And I go back to the trauma, which is understand who you are and making yourself happy,
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to see that some people can navigate it and they figure out how to do it and they get through life and then they move on to other things and they start doing commentary on ESPN or what have you, and they're doing great. And then most people, that's not the case.
Yeah. That's why I say I recommend people who get therapy and, end of your career, have good people in your corner that, got your back that could still help you propel in life. And
did you get therapy when you were done?
Yeah.
Yeah?
For sure, you got to get therapy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What did you specifically go to talk to them about?
Just how you feel, mental clarity, emotional feelings. I feel like waking up and being a football player when you did it every day and you wake up with so much energy ready to put it out.
Right.
Just learning how to channel it, learning how to deal with some relationships that maybe change now that you're not in a position, and how to deal with that, or, how to deal with people leveraging you, for what you got now, and just a lot of different things to just provide mental clarity, and just, because life's not about just being right, just figuring out ways to just be more happy.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?